Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of the SmackDown Live Recap. I'm your host, John Rocha, joined, as always, by the editor-in-chief and CEO, in my opinion, of Pro Wrestling Sheet, Ryan Satin. How are you?
I'm great. Is that a thing that you can have an opinion on?
Yeah, I think so. It's my world. I get to decide these things.
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
It has been, it has been so hot in LA this whole summer. It's been so hot. And this week, I've finally been able to wear pants again.
Yeah,
and
it started to cool off a little bit.
It has been, I enjoy the laid back California lifestyle, getting to wear shorts. We've talked about it on here.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, just like, I want to wear jeans. It's 100 degrees outside, you know?
Right.
And you can get away with it in California wearing shorts. So
yeah, totally.
So
and flip-flops.
And flip-flops. So I'm so happy it's not a million degrees out here. And I know that the people who live in cold places right now are just so mad watching or listening to this. But
hey,
I'm in a good mood because I can actually wear jeans around and be comfortable. Because I don't like...
are you ashamed of your legs?
I'm not ashamed of my legs. It's just it's not like I go tanning a lot, so it's like they're white.
Really? It matters to you what color your legs are?
It doesn't matter to me, but it doesn't look cool either. I like to look cool in some degree.
You're too involved in pro wrestling. You think everybody walks around spray tanned? No, we like being whatever color we are. God damn it, it's fine.
Living in California, not the wrestling.
Oh,
thing.
True.
I will say watching wrestling does make me want to get in better. Makes you want to get in better shape though, for sure.
Oh, of
you're
course.
Watching just people that are in great shape all the time.
Right, and in my case, they're 2 decades younger than me. So it's a whole nother situation here. But so much to talk about on this particular episode of SmackDown Live. Thoroughly loved it. Thoroughly enjoyed it from top to bottom. No complaints like yesterday about that 10-man tag.
Well,
I had no problem.
I'm sure you'll have some complaints at some point.
I'm really enjoying. Well,
let's hold him to. Let's
see.
Yeah.
And can someone turn on the F meter for Scott Satin? Is that possible?
Did I say that word?
No, but I'm saying we should start it. We should, because yesterday you went all out.
We'll change it. The little wrestling guy to have a
little meter,
cuss meter. Yeah, no,
like his face slowly changes to more and more outrage.
I'm sure my dad loves that he has become a topic of conversation on the show now. Anytime there's a cuss word.
That's right. How's First Family going? All right, let's move on.
I had him as a guest way back in the day on Wrestling Sheet Radio. He wanted to rant about something. It was something he was real mad about. So I let him rant on the show about it. It was fun.
Interesting.
But he listens. He listens to all of them.
Really? I might want to have your dad on the deep cut. That'd be kind of fun. Talk to him about his life in TV.
I'm sure he would love it.
Okay. All right.
No problem doing it.
And raising you. I think that'd be a fun part of 15 minutes of the show.
Oh, no. Never mind. He can't do it. I take it back.
All right, let's start this out. And speaking of old timers, The Undertaker comes out to start the show for SmackDown. Dude, that entrance, I could literally go to the bathroom, make a meal, and come back by the time The Undertaker hits the ring. It's an incredibly long entrance. That's stature. No one else gets that kind of a long entrance. Not even Kane, for God's sakes, and he has long entrances. Undertaker, and literally it's a 5-minute entrance. It's incredible, but the WWE respects his stature in the company. Comes in, talks about the Titans that fought at MSG, basically what Stone Cold did last night, talking about the history of the WWE and MSG, his history in MSG, and all of that, then gets interrupted by Sami Zayn, of all people.
I will say the entrance thing, it's funny. Yesterday was one of those days where I was cutting it close, leaving here to get home in time for SmackDown. And I got in the door like 5 minutes late. Oh. And I was like stressed, like, no, I'm going to miss whatever's opening the show. It's probably going to be Undertaker. And I'm like rushing in. And then I'm get in and I'm like 5 minutes late and I turn on the TV. I get it all set up finally because I have to stream it to watch it live. Yeah. Setting everything up, and then by the time I get it all set up, he's still just barely walking into the ring, and I was like, okay, good, of course. Whew. Good thing they started off with Undertaker. But it's iconic. I love it. It's great. Similar to Stone Cold. I mean, those two guys are just, they're pillars of the WWE, and so the fact that WWE was in Madison Square Garden again only made sense to have them both there, kicking off the shows. His promo was cool. It's obviously the same as Stone Cold, because Stone Cold is a much more loose, fluid thing where he can just kind of shoot the shit and just do his thing.
Yeah. There were no what chants. That's for damn sure.
No, you don't go.
You don't what chant the Undertaker.
No, he'll lightning strike all of you.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously it's a different vibe, but it was still cool because he has that respect factor. Like obviously everyone respects the Stone Cold, but you're like watching him waiting to see what he's gonna do. I think with Undertaker, you're more just sitting there like respect that man, I enjoyed it. And same thing you said when Sami Zayn's music hit, I did like a double take, like what?
Yeah.
What?
Of all people.
But you know what? I liked it.
Yeah, it totally works. Sami Zayn coming in saying, totally respect you, but your time is done. Like 30 years of doing it is enough. There are people who are ready to take on the mantle. You don't need to come back anymore. Thanks for coming.
No, I love when he said, I think we can all agree, you included, that you should not have started off this episode of the show. I should have started off this episode of the show.
Which is so confusing because, I get it because it puts The Undertaker over and gets fans all excited and everything. But Sami's got another thing with Shinsuke. So I thought Shinsuke was going to come down. I thought they were going to do a double hit on the Taker, which would be interesting.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, but no, it didn't happen.
But then Miz would have come out to save him, and no one wants to see that.
Yeah, I guess not. But anyway.
Not knocking on Miz. Miz himself is great. His character right now is just rough, and we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we will. And Undertaker eventually chokeslams Sami. After it looks like Sami has won this battle of wits.
His face was great when he was in there, thinking that he had got one over on the Undertaker. Oh yeah.
Taker comes in, chokeslams him straight to hell, and walks on out. So.
It is crazy to me, to look at this episode of SmackDown, and we'll get to all the Kevin Owens stuff later.
Sure.
But to see, if you had told someone a few years ago when Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were arguably two of the biggest characters in wrestling via NXT. Well, I guess not in wrestling. When they were doing their thing in NXT and people were loving it.
Yeah.
And they were on the verge of coming to the main roster or whatever. If you had said that once they got there, in a few years, Sami Zayn would just become a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
And that Kevin Owens is going to be on the verge of maybe going back to NXT, I wouldn't believe you. I don't think anyone would have believed you. No, those guys are going to be at the top of the company. They're great. Yeah. It's crazy to me that, I love Sami Zayn. I think he's a great talent in the ring and out of it.
Right.
But I'm surprised to see him being just kind of relegated to a mouthpiece right now.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I think he's so much better than that.
Yeah, I agree. And I just think they don't know what to do with him.
They don't.
Because there's no program for him to work. Mm-hmm. But they know they love him, and they know they want him in people's faces, or else they wouldn't have handed him this mouthpiece job to do for now. And remember, Heenan was a wrestler before he became a manager, so it's just keeping him in the public eye for now and on TV, so that people don't forget that Sami is part of the company, and eventually something will break out. And don't be surprised if it's Sami versus Shinsuke. Don't forget, Shinsuke and Sami was the first match to introduce Shinsuke into NXT, so it would be ironic if it ends up becoming them working a program down the road, which would be fun.
Yes, absolutely.
At least something.
I don't dislike him doing it because he is entertaining. I felt like his gimmick that he came back with was getting over.
Yeah.
I liked that his whole toxic masculinity thing.
That was so weird that it
was entertaining,
stopped.
and then it's just they've gotten rid of it, as if because he lost a few times, it's ruined. You booked him to lose a few times.
Yeah, you booked him to lose.
Just book him to win a few times.
You killed the angle yourself. Yeah, that's true.
just go book him to win a few times. It's not that hard.
Yeah,
people were digging it. I didn't think he was that dead in the water. I know you at the time were saying no. You did. No, at the time when he lost those few in a row, I remember you were saying.
Oh yeah, right.
How you felt like he was dead in the water.
They were killing him. Yeah.
I just felt like they could have fixed it instead of making him a mouthpiece. And I don't know.
I get it.
I enjoyed all of it. I just feel like they could be doing better with Sami Zayn.
Yeah,
this is going to be, I hope to see him get sent back to NXT or something.
They quicksanded him is what they did. That's what they did. There
sure.
You go. Let's use it. Oh, well, we're going to get to some stuff later on. All right, Shane McMahon in the back there talking with a freshly coiffed Chad Gable. It says he doesn't know who Chad Gable's opponent will be, but it'll be someone from either SmackDown or Raw who maybe didn't get a shot or failed in their shot in King of the Ring tournament. So we don't know who it's going to be. Mm-hmm. It's all a mystery, and we'll get it solved in just a minute. But speaking of people who are losing too much for my taste, recently, Andrade took on The Miz here with Shinsuke, the aforementioned Shinsuke, doing commentary. Super pissed. Okay, enjoyed it, still super pissed.
Yeah.
There's no reason Andrade should be taking a loss to Miz at this point. You were pushing Andrade up the fucking ladder. Why in God's name? There's one. Why in God's name are you putting him down for the Miz, losing King of the Ring tournament? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And Zelina and him are in such good rhythm right now. To mess it up with these losses is such a phenomenally stupid decision on the creative side.
I absolutely agree with you. I think, at least on this one, I don't know if that's not necessarily just losing streak or whatever, but having him lose to the Miz here is just silly. I think that right now it feels
doesn't put the Miz over.
Right now it feels like the Miz is a walking advertisement for his reality show. That's really what he is right now.
And
that's why he's a good guy. They know he's betterly. I just made a word there. That he's better positioned. He's more valuable as an asset to the company, I think, in the wrestling side of things. as a heel.
He's a brand ambassador.
But they also understand that ratings-wise, that people might not tune into a reality show about a heel, so they've now positioned him as a face, so he can do the interviews, he can go out promotion, he can do all the things they want. He can be the brand ambassador that you referred to him as without being a heel. And it's working for the show, it's working for whatever, but I don't think it's necessarily working on the wrestling side of things. And while honestly, this was a great match.
Yes.
They killed it. That finish was awesome.
Yes.
That finish was really cool. I thought that was very inventive the way they did it, where he did the moonsault off the top rope that he always misses and does the double one, but Miz caught him in the wheelbarrow and then picked him up and did the skull crushing finale. Looked awesome. Yeah. And honestly, Andrade took the skull crushing finale better than most people take it. The way he did it, like where he like flung his feet all the way out and was just like fully just went for it, looked awesome. But I agree with you in the sense that I don't think that Miz gains anything by beating Andrade here. I don't think it helps the reality show more. I don't think people are gonna like, oh, well, Miz is a loser, so I'm not going to watch his reality show. Or I think you watch it because he's entertaining. He's funny.
Or it doesn't make me go, oh, I can't wait to see the match against Shinsuke now at Night of Champions. No, nobody cares. It's going to happen one way or another. It's not that exciting of a matchup.
The only thing I'll say to that towards that point is that Andrade and Shinsuke are both guys who usually have matches that people enjoy for the most part. If he puts on a competitive match with Andrade, and like I said, this was a good match. It was an entertaining match. They did cool stuff in the match. I liked a lot of the match.
I'm just saying it doesn't make people get excited for the match any more so than they would have been already.
I just think, if anything, you go, oh, Miz can put out like a dope athletic match.
But we know that already.
On the likes of an indie work rate person or whatever.
We know that already. When he fought Daniel Bryan, he did all that. We know that already. That's my thing.
But it's been a while since he's had one of those. He has been relegated to kind of like boring stuff.
Yes, true, very true.
So maybe it's got to go a reminder before, wrestling.
So have him fight somebody else.
I agree.
Have him fight Sami.
It should have been Ali. He should have fought like Ali. Ali could have done the same competitive match with him, taken the loss, it would have been fine.
Yes.
I just think that Andrade is on much more of the upward trajectory right now as well. And so I agree with you on that sense that I don't think this was the right match necessarily to book. I agree. I understand that you need to have Miz put out a competitive match so people are excited about the Shinsuke thing. I get all that, but I agree with you that Andrade should be protected more than he's being right now.
Listen, I want to tell you something. You have only so many Latino wrestlers on your freaking roster. Andrade is fantastic. Ray is still doing it at that age.
And unmasked ones.
And unmasked ones. So to me, when you start to undercut them, and don't give me this equality bullshit because it's not equality right now. You don't have 10 Latino wrestlers and 10 white wrestlers or 10 black wrestlers, 10 Latino, 10 white. It's not equal. So if it's not equal, I think if you're going to bring someone in like that, you got to build them up, let the public get behind them. The more you undercut their push, and someone as incredible as Andrade, the more you undercut the push, the fans have an excuse to move on. The fans don't stubbornly stay, they'll move on. And I think when you do this with Andrade, a talented Andrade, and then you end up later going, we don't know how to book them. You know why you don't know how to book him? Because you fucked up the creative from the beginning or in the middle here that killed his run. Look at, it took forever. Look at McIntyre. McIntyre's almost kind of semi-forgotten now. Why? Because you messed up the run by having him take these losses and not come over, get over as well as he should have been. So that's my thoughts on that.
No, I think you nailed it. You just made me think of something. Where has Drew McIntyre been?
That's the thing. He did the King of the Ring and then he lost.
Well, where's he been since then?
I don't know. I haven't seen him since then.
He hasn't been on the show since then, huh?
No, I don't think so. You know what? You could have done this. You could have had a good match. Miz hits the skull-crushing finale. He's about to get the pin. Shinsuke rolls in and attacks him. That way, it's not a loss. It's a DQ, and it doesn't count against Andrade. He still wrestled a great match. He doesn't take the L.
He had to beat down afterwards anyways. You might as well. Yeah, no, I agree with you. And the Mexican thing, the Hispanic thing, I completely agree with you. He's the only Hispanic guy without a mask on the roster right now.
Yeah.
He should be protected a little more.
With a Hispanic woman who's kicking ass as well.
I completely agree with you in that aspect. I think that demographics are important.
Yes.
And if
Latinos
the Latino demographic has a guy that they can get behind, I know we have Rey Mysterio already, but like an unmasked guy they can get behind is great. That's awesome.
Right.
Like more... awesome,
Look how Eddie was. If they push him like they push Eddie, if they create storylines like they did for him like they did with Eddie, for God's sakes, the man would be over like
even
crazy.
Better. Look what they did with Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, Del Rio was El Patron was fantastic.
He was great for a long time in WWE. from the beginning too. Like his initial push was awesome. The vignettes, they treated Alberto Del Rio like a star.
Like a superstar. Yes.
Always.
Yep.
And I wish that they held Andrade in that same regard. Now I realize that Alberto Del Rio spoke better English. I realize Alberto Del Rio is bigger of a guy than Andrade. But still, Andrade is insanely handsome dude that women will get behind, who is awesome in the ring. That guy, it's one of those situations where I look at a person where it's like, the key mojo thing is someone that girls think is attractive, girls like, and men would want to hang out with.
Yeah.
That's like the formula.
That's the Rock.
For that kind of a thing,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And I feel like Andrade is that guy.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't speak perfect English. And, you know.
That's why you have her.
Yeah, I agree.
It totally works.
So I agree with you wholeheartedly that Andrade should be protected more.
Yes, for God's sake.
I watched that. Honestly, that is the main thought I had. I watched it. I was thinking, man, don't like that he just lost. And where was Aleister Black?
Yeah.
I was like, why are these two people like? These people should be focused on. They should be like, you're going to Fox and you want to promote, you want to present a young hit product. Those are two guys that you should be featuring heavily, in my opinion. They're on the right path with Chad Gable.
Yeah. But it's a white dude. It happens all the time.
Well, so is Aleister Black. But I just mean in terms of like
he's Dutch.
Young, he's still white. But in terms of like young, fresh talent is what I'm talking about.
That's
of like,
fair.
you know, to present a young hip thing to younger audiences. You know?
maybe Sammy's right. We didn't need Undertaker to start it. We should have been the younger talent. I'm just
well, I'm not anti-legends or whatever.
I know, I'm joking. Chad, let's go. We had a recap of the Erick Rowan situation, Roman Reigns, a little vignette there, and then we jump into the back again. Chad, when McMahon says, "Oh, I didn't even see you there." Chad is standing.
Shorty, call him Shorty again. They keep going into the Shorty G.
Shorty G.
The thing that people are worried about, whatever that is.
And then McMahon says that it is him. It is Shane McMahon that Chad Gable is facing in the King of the Ring.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Chad is left with his mouth wide open as we go to black.
Question.
Yes.
I saw a lot of people talking about this before we get to the other stuff.
Okay, sure.
That basically said, well, shouldn't Chad Gable want to wrestle? Like when he came out, I was like, oh, I got my bye. And Shane was like, no, you're gonna have to wrestle. And he was kind of like confused.
Yeah.
People were like, wouldn't that be a heel thing to just assume that he's gonna get a bye? And I was thinking, no, it's just smart tournament play. Like, if you're like, I don't watch sports, so I didn't want to make the analogy on Twitter because I figured I might be super off.
I can always help you with that.
But if you're in like a sports, if you're in a tournament. And you like basketball, I assume. Let's say basketball, and the college Sweet 16. If you get a bye, or if the team for some reason can't play, they don't let the team they beat play, right? No. You would get a bye in that tournament,
well,
right?
tennis is more correlative.
Okay.
If someone retires in the middle of a match, the person who they beat to get into that match does not step in and play.
Right.
Or if the person is retiring from injury before the match even starts, the person who they beat to get into that match does not all of a sudden slide in and be the person that you were playing against.
So you're saying, let's say there's a tournament in tennis.
Yes.
And someone wins.
Yeah. Let's
say they win, right?
Yeah.
And then they get the person who they were going to go against. Someone wins and then they get injured.
Right.
You're saying the person they beat does not then get their spot. The person who was going to go against them gets a bye. That's what I thought too when I was watching.
That's how it works.
And I saw a lot of people saying like, "Oh, it's a pretty heel-like thing," and I was like, "No, Chad Gable was a wrestler for real. He was in wrestling tournaments his entire life.
And that's what happens in tournaments.
That's what happens in wrestling tournaments. If the person for some reason can't go, you get a bye and you go on. That's just how that shit goes." So I was okay, good. I didn't want to tweet this because I was like, my sports mind isn't that great, but okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's how it works. And so, see, and that's the difference between the triple threat match on Raw, which was a tie. Those guys tied. So, to me, I didn't have a problem with them moving on into a triple threat match. With this, retiring, it shouldn't. Honestly, he should have moved on to the finals automatically. But that would have looked a bit like WWE was even more scripting the situation.
True.
So they had to put someone in there.
Okay, yeah, no, I agree.
Because it's bullshit that Shane gets to leapfrog the first 2 rounds and slide into a semis. Totally. Without wrestling a second.
It actually honestly worked in their favor because it made you want Chad Gable to win even more. If it had been Elias, that wouldn't have happened.
Which is smart creative. I don't have any issues with that.
And I was told that Elias' injury is legit.
It is.
It was legit.
His foot
is legit.
That's a shame.
That he hurt himself. From what I heard, it was last week wrestling Ali because he hasn't wrestled since.
Oh, wow.
I believe maybe it was a foot thing, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
I haven't been able to confirm that. But the Shane ultimately, as much as I rolled my eyes at it, was the right choice to put in here because of the way it ended. It made the most sense.
Yeah, I agree thoroughly. And we'll get to that in just a second. But first, Fire and Desire come out. Mandy is going to take on Nikki Cross in a match here. But Mandy comes out doing a little bit of the heel. I don't know. I was weird. I'm of two minds of this because, like, are we doing...
I was wondering what you were going to say about the segment. When you said I have no complaints about the show, I was like, I'm interested to hear what he says about the Mandy Rose thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much a complaint. It's more of like, I'm confused what we're doing here because, Nia was the body shaming thing and people were really left uncomfortable with that. And here comes Mandy doing it in this kind of pointing out how she thinks that Nikki looks like a rat that crawled out. Like, that's tough, man. I don't think you need to do that. You can make jokes about her clothes, make jokes about her wrestling style, or about like she's kind of clumsy, whatever. But to attack a person's looks, I think I get that it's heel, but it's a little too heelish for me. And nowadays, and especially when you've got a "Don't Be a Bully" campaign with WWE, it's always confusing how they do that. In the Schmodown recently online, I made a joke about someone. I was like, as the Outlaw, I was like going back at someone. I called someone Tubby, right? People were like, oh my God, you're body shaming, you are fat shaming, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, Tubby was something you said like in a playful banter back and forth. I had weight issues my whole life. I still have weight issues. I still think I'm a rather large mammal, in my opinion.
You look great.
Thank you. But in my opinion, I do think I look pretty heavy. And so like,
you're not.
Okay. But in my mind, it's there. And when growing up as a kid, I was beat up all the time for being fat. I was called all kinds of terrible names. And so to me, Tubby is one of those most innocuous things you can use, but people accuse. And I had to like think to myself, well, is it? And then my girlfriend said to me, yes. And I was like, damn it. Because I thought I was just being a playful heel.
That's happened to me a couple times where words that I just used my whole life that I didn't think were bad. And I'm not going to use them here because I have used one on the show once before. And the comments were filled with people like, that is a terrible thing to say.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was like, is it? And I had to do the same thing where I had to like say to someone like, is that a terrible thing to say now? And they were like, yeah, it kind of is. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll remove that from my vocabulary.
Yeah, I was trying to be playful and jab, and I had no idea. So yeah, you kind of look, okay, so another person on the outside, my girlfriend's like, no, it is. And you shouldn't have used it. I'm like, all right, fine. I was just being playful. But this is next level, because you're literally attacking how a person looks and comparing them to a rat that crawls in a sewer.
Yeah.
That is, I thought we were past that. That's like 1980s, 90s stuff. What did you feel about it?
I'm also of the two minds. Like, I get where there would be a complaint from people of like, oh, we're beyond this type stuff. But at the same time, like, it's pro wrestling. And like, I don't think pro wrestling is beyond cheap heat at this point.
Yeah.
And like, look it, that's just like a tried and true method in wrestling. A very attractive person is very vain. So they think that every single person is ugly. To be honest with you, I think if you think it's that mean, and I'm not saying this is you.
Yeah, right.
If you think it's that mean, then you probably think that about her. And that's where it's on you then.
Because, interesting.
Because like, I don't think that Nikki Cross is unattractive.
No.
So like, I didn't find it that bad. Like, it was like, clearly this woman is insanely attractive she maybe doesn't look like all the other girls on the roster, but of course Nikki Cross is attractive, And so, I don't know. I was watching like, cool, like really vain person who her whole gimmick is that she's hot.
Yeah.
That's even, it's not just that she's a hot woman. It's her gimmick is that she's hot and that she thinks that she's hotter than everybody else. So I don't necessarily think that it's some like bad thing that she then says that about someone, because I don't know. It's like, that is what her character is. Her character's been, and Nikki Cross is going to get her comeuppance,
Isn't there a more subtle way to do it that isn't so on the nose, I guess? I guess that's another way to look. Like, there could have been a more subtle way.
I'm sure they could have.
Right? I don't know.
I'm sure there definitely could have been.
But Mandy's still growing.
As long as Nikki is the one who comes out on top of all this, then that's all that matters.
And which she did. She came out and they had a good match, and Nikki ended up getting the pin, rolling her up with a little bit of help from Alexa, who kept Sonya from interfering in the match, because Sonya came out and kind of essentially introduced Nikki, and Nikki came running down. I thought this was a good match, not a great match.
I can't remember if it was the episode that got corrupted or not.
Yeah.
But they're really leaning heavily this episode into the fact that Alexa Bliss is a face now. Right?
Yes.
That's like the vibe we were supposed to get here, right?
Kinda,
Which was confusing to me a little bit, because I don't think there's ever been like a full shift
not yet
to Alexa being a face. And from what I've heard, like internally, she is kind of considered a face now, because with her pairing with Nikki. And it was weird because like, they're talking crap. They're just doing the mean thing. Yeah. And Alexa comes out like she's supposed to get the face pop because, oh, damn.
Right.
Alexa Bliss just showed up and she's going to give her comeuppance. Alexa Bliss has always kind of been like, for lack of a better term, like a chicken shit heel.
Yeah.
That's kind of always been her thing. Like she hasn't been this like hardy, beat everyone champion. Like she wins a lot.
Yes.
But she's also kind of underhandedly winning a lot of the times
bratty.
too. Yeah.
She's a bratty heel. She pouts in the ring.
Yeah.
She stomps her feet, all that kind of jazz, pounds her fist. So that's the angle she plays.
Yeah, so when she shows up to be like the savior, I don't know if she's warranted that character shift yet. We're like, oh, Alexa Bliss is here to save the day. Like, I don't know if anyone's going to feel that way.
There's a lot of weird confusion with the women, too. And we'll get to the Ember and Bayley exchange in the back as well. Like, it's a weird thing that's happening here where, like, some of these ladies, we don't know if they're face or heel. They're just basically tweeners who are doing what's best for them depending on the situation. Yeah. Right? Alexa, at this point, I don't think she's a face. I think they've met a heel team, so they're a little less heel than that team. That's all. They're not face to me. They're just less heel than the other team. Yes. So she comes out, injures Nikki. She gets involved in the match. Alexa does, stopping Sonya. So it's like she has those. That's a little bit of a face thing to do.
That's the vibe I got this whole match.
Roll in and try to.
She was kind of like, you're gonna body shame my friend.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I'm here to save the day.
All of a sudden, you're
remember when you were body shaming like a year ago?
Yeah, Nia.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, totally. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It really. You're right. It's been the women and the entire on both shows. The women's division is really out of sync right now. And you don't really. The only thing you know is that even Becky's kind of a tweener.
Becky is a tweener. I feel like they're all just kind of following what happened with Becky, and they're all kind of playing both sides.
True.
It's interesting.
It is the Becky effect.
Yeah, it's just interesting. They're all playing both sides. So either way, she gets the victory here. Nikki gets the pin on the roll-up. It was a quick pin, but it got a pin in the roll-up, and she gets the victory, and they walk on out, and Sonya and Mandy are left in the ring kind of surprised by everything that happens. They're going to fight at Night of Champions. Do you think, I know you're saving the preview stuff for the show, but quickly, do you think Alexa and Nikki win here, or do you think Sonya and Mandy take it for a little bit?
I feel like Alexa. That's a tough question.
Yeah, because I think you can go either way, and either way, I still think you're burying the titles. Oh, quicksanding the titles.
You can use it there because they're rough with the way they've treated the women's.
They don't give two craps about those.
I'm going with Alexa. It feels like they've really been wanting to give it to Mandy and Sonya for a minute, though. And I don't know if anyone is connecting with Alexa and Nikki as a tag team.
Yeah. And they've worked really hard to get them over. But maybe they let them win here as faces and see what happens.
I'm going to go with that.
Maybe.
I'm going to go with that. I think Alexa and them keep it still.
If Fire and Desire win, it'll be to see what the fan reaction is to them being champions and how they carry it. And if they can't carry it well, they have them lose it in the next pay-per-view.
And I think there's going to be a lot of title change amongst the women in the other matches. So I'm going to say Nikki and Alexa keep it.
Sounds good. Heavy Machinery in the back drinking their milkshakes, kind of recalling that thing they had with Becky a few months ago. That's cool. But then Ember Moon and Bayley have their exchange backstage as well. This was interesting because Ember was like calling Bayley out, like what's going on here? But Bayley did not go full heel at all. Once again, I need to know what is happening here because Ember is left to kind of instigate a battle between them. Obviously, it's going to be in the ring, but also between them verbally. So this is,
I kind of like this. I know I'm a little hard on Ember Moon. Sometimes not hard on her, but I talk about the fact that like I feel like her character is lost right now. Yeah. This did give it a little more purpose of her being like, all right, if you're not going to be the person the women's division can look up to, like, I want to take that mantle.
Yeah.
Like, I'm into that. I do think that Ember Moon would be best served not talking and being more of a silent killer kind of thing where she does her talking in the ring. Because she has an intimidating look, but when she talks, it's a little less intimidating. And like you said, you were kind of like, what is she?
Yeah.
But I do feel like this segment, I kind of like that this heel Bayley is like, she's trying to push it down. It's very, I know I keep making the analogy, but it's very Anakin Skywalker-like, where she's trying to push down the dark side, and she's like, no, I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy.
She has reasons for why she's doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
And she doesn't think she's doing anything wrong.
Just like Anakin. Anakin thought, he thought, they let my mom die. They won't let me use the Force to save my wife.
Right.
I feel like these are the things that are bubbling up within Bayley, but she feels like she has obligation to the fans still.
Yeah,
That's the one thing that's stopping her from going to the dark side full blown.
Right.
Kind of like Anakin had Natalie Portman, you know.
Oh, right, true.
Padme. I feel that's the story I feel like they're telling, is she's really just trying to like not let it get to her and be the Bayley she was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And eventually she's gonna snap and we're gonna get Darth Bayley.
No, again, everyone's just gonna go heel.
Yeah, Darth Bayley. I'm ready for Darth Bayley.
Darth Bayley. All right, Heavy Machinery does their squash match. I don't know. What do you want to say? I hate these things.
I like the Beaver Boys were on SmackDown because they're an indie tag team that I've seen before and stuff.
Okay.
I liked it. I don't like the Big E. I've got beat myself to it. I don't like Otis kind of becoming Big E. Like, Big E already does the straps down, the like overtly sexual but more getting amped up thing. I don't want him. He didn't need to add the straps down stripping thing where his tights were almost falling off. Like, I don't know. I don't think it added to anything. But I enjoyed seeing Heavy Machinery on the show again.
Okay. All right. You know me. You know how I feel about these things.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Erick Rowan comes out. The great Erick Rowan comes out. I would love this. Dude, I'm loving everything that's happening. Rowan comes out, does this whole promo, says, all my life, people didn't know me. They spoke for me, blah, blah, basically picking up where he left off last week and says, all of you people, starts to go against the fans, says, you just see a big dumb brute. And, you know, that plays into what people thought about him for many years on WWE. So he plays into it and says, I'm more than that. I'm speaking for myself now. I'm going to do my thing. And then boom, Roman's music. I love Roman's reaction of turning immediately ready to confront, and this thing turns into a full-blown melee into the stands.
Before you
outside the stands, crazy.
I hated the reaction that you just said you loved.
The spin?
Because he like instantly reacts, right?
Yeah.
Here's the music, instantly spins into it like he's ready, and then waits for like 2 minutes for Roman to get in the ring. And if you've watched WWE TV, you know what Roman's gonna do here.
Right.
He's gonna Superman punch. That's his thing.
Right.
And he just stands there. He was ready, but then he stood there waiting and then got hit with the Superman punch so easily. You would think you would just stand there. You'd be ready. He was waiting.
That's fair.
That bothered me.
Okay.
That was a tiny little thing, tiny little nitpick. I'm aware. That was the one I just stood there going like, it was like Austin Powers where the guy is,
no.
you know, and the steamroller's coming at him. And he's like, no.
Or it's like every woman that faces Natty now that has to wait for her to do the spin clothesline, which takes forever. Poor Lacey on Raw was like standing there for 20 minutes before Natty finally completed that spin move. It was so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Please get rid of that move, Natty. Nobody believes you can nail it correctly. Anyway, so this spills out into the audience. Rowan takes a couple more Superman punches. My God, he picks up a fan and power bombs him into people.
Which was fantastic.
Yeah, but hey, let me do a thing for you, just in case randomly the fan might be watching this thing. If you get picked out of the audience to do this, because obviously WWE talks to you ahead of time, don't do this when you get picked up, for God's sakes.
It's obviously
don't
not
overplay.
It's not a fan.
Well, no, right.
He's obviously a wrestler.
If you're a wrestler gets picked out to play the fan, fine. Don't overdo it by doing this. Nobody does that when they get picked up, okay? You want to be reacting like, holy God, what the fuck? And then go down. You don't go, oh, what's happening? It's ridiculous, all right?
I laughed at
Be
it.
good at it, for God's sakes.
I laughed.
Anyway, all right. Anyway, so this spills, like I said, spills on the crowd, comes back over the barrier. They get separated by people coming out to stop him. Then Rowan comes out to attack Reigns, starts to drag him up the ramp. Then Reigns kind of breaks free, does another Superman punch, and then in desperation, as they're fighting on top of the throne for King of the Ring, Rowan grabs the jib that we have here that we're on, slams the jib into Roman and a bunch of people, and rolls on out. Wow.
I wish I could make that the screen grab for the thumbnail for the show of me hitting you with the jib.
Sure, if you have $40,000, Roman.
I'm not touching that thing. I honestly, I love this. I thought it was great. I thought that, Roman shouldn't have spoke. Roman should have been there to handle business. Pissed that Rowan is the guy who tried to kill him.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought that it was nice. The fan thing added an extra bit of fun to this segment, and they didn't just leave it at that. Adding the whole jib thing was great.
I agree.
I laughed at it. Like when he grabbed it, I was like, "Oh, what's he doing?" You know, and it was reminiscent of like The Rock back in the day when he would kind of like take the guy's camera and hit someone with it, or take the camera and film someone while doing like a move to them, or like. That I think it was when he did it with Stone Cold, and Stone Cold stunned him while he had the camera on him. Stuff like that.
That was great.
Love that kind of stuff.
Remember that.
So I liked the whole jib thing. I thought that it added some extra intensity that this feud needs. I too think Rowan has been great in this whole thing.
Man.
I've seen opposite, not opposite reaction, but less than enthusiastic reactions to all of it. And I'm like, no, man, like Rowan's been around for a while now. He's getting a singles opportunity in a big way. Yeah. I feel like he can bring it when it comes to the match. He's brought it on the mic so far. He has, in my opinion, he has done a great job with the opportunities given to him and taken each moment and made the most of it. So I've enjoyed the Rowan stuff, and I like that he's got his name back because of this feud now. Because they thought that it was confusing to say Rowan and Roman, and Roman. It's very confusing. Now they can say Erick Rowan and Roman Reigns. It's a bit less confusing for some reason. Sure. So, I'm pretty excited for their match at Clash of Champions.
I am too, and this is the deal. Reigns gets up to massive chants of Rowan in the audience. Man, that was surprising. And some holy shit chants. There you go. Replace "this is awesome" with "holy shit."
Well, that's also an old chant, though.
I like it better.
It's literally been around just as long. They started at the exact same time.
I guess so, but it gets used sparingly, whereas "this is awesome" gets used all the time. So I like it. People have been responding to on Twitter.
I like the one guy who liked the exceptional match chant. Exceptional match. Exceptional match. We guys got to get that one started, guys.
Please, that would be great. Start it for us. That'd be awesome.
But you know what? People love to give WWE crap for not having a full story arc or rushing into matches. Say what you will, they have put a lot of effort into this feud, from it becoming a whodunit thing to now, and it wasn't the only thing that dominated the show. It was a nice little thing that wasn't necessarily the main event thing on Raw, on SmackDown, but a big part of the show. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think that, yes, it's had some ups and downs and things we laughed at, but ultimately, it gave fun stuff to talk about this whole time. Like, it's much better than just promo, I'm the better wrestler. Yeah. And it also is giving an opportunity to not a new guy, but a guy who has been in tag teams for a long time. It's giving an opportunity to a new person for singles success.
Agreed, Ryan. And I think what's important here is, look, it didn't start out so well, but if it leads to an incredible match at Night of Champions, then we're all the better for it. We benefit from it. And yes, did it hit the same beats as the Rikishi, Rock, Stone Cold thing? Sure, but that didn't end up so well. This looks like it's going to end up with a fantastic match. So
we'll find out.
Hopefully, we'll definitely find out. All right, move on to Ember and Bayley. We talked about them in the back now. Their match happens here. Charlotte comes down to do commentary. This was a good match for the most part. Then Bayley puts her away with a Bayley to belly suplex there, and then gets the pin clean. Charlotte walks out to confront Bayley. No words are exchanged. Bayley, just the confident smile, walks on out. So overall, what do you think of this? Did you like the match and the results?
I kind of said that I think that Bayley is realizing she has to become Charlotte to beat her. And that's a Charlotte move. Charlotte's been doing that lately, where like instead of attacking right away, she'll kind of like let the anger build up and then just slowly walk out. So I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I saw some people point out to me that the jacket that Bayley was wearing on Raw was more of a Macho Man Randy Savage thing, but also black and white. So when he was in the NWO, and a little bit different. Did you see that thing where Robin was on ESPN and it said in the corner, like it listed all his accolades, and then in the bottom it said former member of the NWO?
Yes, and I retweeted it today with a comment because Rachel Nichols from ESPN tweeted it and circled the thing. So I retweeted the comment and said, no offense to Rachel Nichols and the Jump, but you are never a former member of the NWO, because when you're NWO, you're NWO for life. And so that's what I retweeted.
I saw other people saying that, but I feel like there are people who have been kicked out of the NWO, so technically that's not true.
You shut your mouth.
I'm just saying.
You shut your mouth about the NWO.
Saying.
You DX stan. You shut your mouth.
You DX stan. This is the first time Rocha's ever used the word stan, I bet, and he used it right, too. That was great.
Thank you. I got drip. Wait, where are we going?
What? Go to the doctor. No, so Bayley. Yes. Honestly, I really enjoyed this match, though. I thought they did a great job.
Me too.
They have fantastic chemistry in the ring together, but like you said, I do think that the entire women's division right now has a problem, an identity problem of just like, I know that gray area seems to be a thing that WWE likes, but I think it's muddling things too much in the women's division right now, and you don't know who you're supposed to be cheering for.
Right. I mean, I get that Becky is supposed to stand out because it's not like everything else.
But her whole thing is that she's an anti-hero, so you also need someone that you can
Right, be against.
Like there's you also need that baby face. I feel like you need one baby face that people can get behind.
Right, Bayley can't be that anymore. I like that she's going darker. This is great. So maybe you could have made Ember Moon that baby face. You could make there are other people who could be in contention for baby face possibilities here down the road. And certainly, I mean,
make it Naomi. That's what I want to see.
Oh, Naomi would be great as well. Absolutely,
the fans love Naomi.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe down the road, that whatever's going on, she'll recover and then come back in. And
I just love to see her get a push and be like the one pure member of the women's division.
Yeah, I agree.
Like a pure, kind-hearted soul.
Kairi Sane could also be the face.
That's actually a good point too. She's great.
She's so great. Yeah, Kairi Sane would be easy baby face. Everybody would be behind the Pirate Princess.
I feel like it's only a matter of time before we get something with Asuka and Kairi Sane, where I feel like there's going to be I feel like we're going to get maybe a heel turn on Asuka's part or something, because they're not doing anything with them. And I feel like Asuka's even complaining or making little underhanded remarks about it on Twitter now, where someone said like they want to see her in a match, and she said, "Oh, but I'm a YouTuber now." That's how even Asuka's like, "Look at guys, I'm not being used," So. I would like there to be some split there.
I agree. Do you think we'll ever come to the point where we have factions?
We kind of have them.
Female factions.
We had that before. Remember, like when the Four Horsewomen all got called up and they all had their own faction, and it was like a whole
that's right.
Team Bad versus the submission sorority, which got changed because it was a porn site name or whatever. No, I don't want to go back to that. I kind of like it without it.
I'd like a female NWO one day. That'd be awesome. All right. Kofi Kingston is what we move on to next. Comes out, does his promo, talks about being back at MSG and his memories at MSG and everything he went through here and his memories. Like really big deal about his memories. And then who's in the crowd with a mic? Randy Orton. Randy Orton instigating stuff, talking about his power of positivity, making fun of him. Kofi runs out.
Well, I love the line before Kofi runs out where Randy said, like, you can't stop talking about two things that have happened in the past 10 years. You winning the title and this thing that happened to here 10 years ago. You want to know what I've done in those 10 years? And then he like lists all his accolades and you're like, oh, damn. Like, damn, Randy. Hit him deep right there, like deep cut there. So listen to the deep cut with John Rocha.
Hey, come on now.
But yeah, I thought Randy did a good job there in his promo before Kofi comes running out.
Absolutely, and then Kofi comes jumping into the situation. They fight out in the crowd once again, like Rowan and Reigns did. It looks like Randy's going to get the upper hand. He even does classic Randy Orton with the DDT off the side there. But Kofi fights back and delivers some fantastic chair shots. That's how you deliver a chair shot. You rear back and then slam the chair in. You don't go, that's not a strong chair shot, ladies and gentlemen. If you're doing it, rear back and slam down. You can still kind of, not hit so hard so you get the vibe, but it still looks fantastic. Then Kofi tries to do the table thing, kind of gets turned on him, and then finds a second table, puts Randy on it, and then delivers that leg drop. You know what's incredible? Kofi doesn't roll off it and be all injured. He just jumped right off of Randy and stood up, and I was like, damn, that's awesome.
You can tell it's funny when you look at the one he did back in the day versus the one he did last night. Side by side, you can tell he's much more reckless than the other one of like, not in a bad way. I mean, like in terms of like for his own safety of just like let's do this and rolling back, like not caring. He knew this was his moment at the time versus now where he's like, let's not get injured when you're champion. Let's do it a little safer this time since you have to jump from this high distance. Let's do it and not roll backwards, but go forward in a safer manner to where I'm more landing on my butt than my legs.
Which is what happened.
Yeah. Which made me laugh because you could tell like that's in the 10 years, that's the difference of him being like, let's be a little more safe for myself this time. But I like the throwback. I like the whole the 10 years later thing or whatever. So 11 years later, I enjoyed it. I thought that. Anytime you can kind of recreate a fun moment of history like that, especially one that has now become a bigger deal. Because I feel like at the time it was a big deal, but then when Kofi didn't ascend to the top, it wasn't something people really talked about anymore, where that feud with Randy Orton where it went away, but a lot of people still remembered it. And so I like they've continued to play off of it. Do you think it ends at Clash of Champions, or do you think it's going to go to Survivor Series?
I think it could go to Survivor Series, but I think Kofi does win.
Wait, isn't there one before Survivor Series and then Hell in a Cell before Survivor Series?
Oh, Hell in a Cell. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, then
I think it could all lead to Hell in a Cell, and they could have a Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship.
If they have another double DQ this time, but after a way longer match, then yes, I think it could end at Hell in a Cell, and it's fine. If Kofi gets the victory,
see Revival coming out, then New Day returns to stop Revival. Dust up or whatever,
right.
They all get separated, double DQ. This time, no one's gonna make. There's gonna be no chance of a DQ because it's gonna be a Hell in a Cell match.
Right, exactly.
That actually makes the most sense.
Yeah, it does, and because this has been the first person I think through the whole Kofi run that's really kind of challenged Kofi. And you thought to yourself, oh, he could legitimately take this thing off.
I feel like most of the feuds, for the most part, except for Dolph, kind of like were only one pay-per-view.
Yeah, they were.
Like,
they were. Samoa Joe was one.
Kevin Owens felt like it was one.
Yeah, exactly.
Dolph Ziggler was maybe more, but
and Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Won.
So
yeah.
I don't think it was a pay-per-view. Did he wrestle Sami Zayn in a pay-per-view for the title? I don't think so.
All right.
But still, yeah, I like this one's been a little longer, so I think it'll last a Hell in a Cell. And honestly, it makes the most sense. They have a blood feud that's lasted 11 years.
You're right. Right.
Put it in a Hell in a Cell for the final one.
And light the cage on fire. I like it.
And then do a pedigree off the top of the cage through the fire.
What's the bamboo one that
the
Jinder likes to fight in? Do you remember?
It's the Great Khali's one too. It's the.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's the.
Yeah. Well, let's move on and you think about it.
I'll keep thinking about it. It's. You move on while you're setting it up. I'll find it.
All right, King of the Ring semis is next. That's our last event of the night here. Shane McMahon taking on Chad Gable. Shane comes with Kevin Owens as guest referee. I guess I didn't mention that earlier. I apologize. Kevin Owens is recruited by Shane to be guest referee for this match as a way to kind of discount or not have him pay the $100,000 fine to take the fine away. He'll referee, which of course the implication is that you'll referee in my favor no matter what.
Punjabi prison
match. Hell yeah.
God, I can't believe I didn't just think of that.
That was good.
It's frustrating.
I like it. Punjabi prison. I dig it. This was initially a very quick match that Gable won on the pin legitimately.
So did we ever talk about just the referee factor when he signed Kevin Owens to be the referee?
Well, I just mentioned it. Yeah, while you were looking it up. But
sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah. No.
I didn't.
You stopped us before we could finish. So, do you want to talk about the whole referee afterwards?
Yeah.
Let's do it afterwards.
Yeah.
All right. So, Chad Gable initially gets the pin.
Yes,
which was a legitimate 1, 2, 3.
Which popped me. I was like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, it wasn't a quick.
And Kevin Owens did a good job. He helped the good guy.
It wasn't a quick 1, 2, 3. It was a legitimate 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And then Shane McMahon gets on the mic and says, "Hell no, this match is continuing." Blah blah blah. Kevin Owens has no choice. Chad Gable was almost all the way up the ramp, has to come back down. They wrestle again for a little bit more, and then eventually Chad gets the submission. Shane clearly taps out, so there's no question here. And Kevin Owens is even like, "What do you want from me? You tapped out. There's nothing I can do." And then Chad Gable's walking away. Kevin Owens in the ring, turns his back on Shane. Shane hits him from behind, sells it that he's fired, and then gets all up in his face, and that's the end of the show.
So one of the things you left out there, I think, was that the slow counts. Once he restarted the match.
Yeah. Kevin Owens
had already did the normal count, and Chad won. Then he basically feels like something bad's gonna happen. So now Kevin Owens' rebellious character or whatever, to me, this like compromised Kevin Owens' integrity. Like big time, because now he helped Shane.
Yeah.
He has straight up helped Shane. He could have Chad Gable could have won multiple times in that match. So he has his integrity compromised. Then he gets fired anyways. What was the point of that?
Yeah.
Because now you have no reason to cheer for Kevin Owens.
Yep.
He was a he was a wuss. Like he didn't, especially one night after seeing Stone Cold and being reminded of Stone Cold telling his boss to shove it and hitting him with the first stunner in Madison Square Garden or whatever.
Right.
On the eve of that, you go like, now we get Kevin Owens who just gets emasculated by Shane McMahon, and then he eats it and then gets fired.
Well, yeah.
So it's like, if he's gonna get fired anyways, and this is a scripted thing, wouldn't it make more sense to have his character just rebel against Shane McMahon?
Yeah, I agree. From the beginning, this whole thing, like, I get it. Some people were saying, and I get it too, like, hey, we've all worked for shitty bosses and had to do terrible things to keep our jobs because we got families or mortgages or whatever. And I get it. And it does kind of appeal to that, what he does. But then again, the way he's presented as an anti-establishment guy, the way he came out shooting his mouth off weeks ago on the mic, risking getting fired, risking fines, all this kind of jazz, where did that guy go? And that's what's frustrating.
Does it appeal to that, the person who say that's me, right?
Right.
Does it appeal to that person to watch someone who does the same thing that they do, acquiesce to their boss?
Right.
Is that what that person wants to watch? No.
Yeah.
They want to watch the guy who tells their boss to go take that $100,000 and shove it up their ass.
Yeah.
And for their boss to know that they can't do shit about it because they need this guy.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see. Nobody wants to see the guy who is like conflicted over the fact that he might lose some money.
Right.
Like, this is a scripted thing.
Yep.
Like, no badass character on TV is conflicted in his emotions over a fine that his boss gave him. Jack Bauer, when Jack Bauer needed to get the job done, he didn't give two craps what the police department and his boss at the police department or CTU or whatever thought about him torturing someone.
Yeah.
Because you know what? He knew he had to torture that cop who was dirty to get the info he needed to save the world.
Yeah.
Or his family. And you go, that's the guy you want to tune in to watch every week.
Yeah.
That's the guy you go, I got to come back next week to see how he's going to rebel against the world.
Right.
Not to tune in next week and be like, let me see how this guy pushes over like I do with my boss.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to see. This doesn't appeal to people.
I don't disagree with you. So my thought is, and I'm hoping, because I'm hoping for the best here, is that they're doing it this way because they're gonna have Kevin Owens have that come to Jesus moment and just completely go all the way the other way and push back against all this, and Shane's gonna be hamstrung. Remember when Stone Cold got like Linda McMahon involved? Like, there's possibilities here that Linda could come or Vince could come in. There's possibilities Kevin Owens could go like, as Vince go, you can't fire that. Hey, look at the ratings with him and look at our merchandise. There's a way to explore this. If this keeps being a flaccid thing, then I thoroughly agree with you.
I fear that it was more done to put a cap on this feud and have Kevin Owens go to NXT. And this way, he got fired.
But that's no way to go to NXT,
from SmackDown, right? I agree. I completely agree that that's
fired for beating your boss up.
From beating your boss up. Yeah. But I do think I have this like weird feeling that maybe he got fired. So he shows up Renegade style on the first episode of NXT and takes the mic like, they didn't appreciate me on the main roster. Like, this is my home. Yeah. This is where I want to be. And then Adam Cole comes out. And then it's like, no, this is my home. Like, and then they have it, and we start a Kevin Owens versus Adam Cole feud for the first like opening for the first NXT USA stuff.
I hate to correct you, but it's Adam Cole, baby.
Sorry,
Jesus
it's actually
Christ.
baby.
Baby. Sorry, baby.
But I get this vibe that that's where they're going with it. That because he also tweeted something today.
Oh, Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens did. He tweeted a picture, or he tweeted first he tweeted 3 numbers, and I guess like if you look at the alphabet,
was it 11,
it's
19?
like NXT, it's like 14 something, and it's like if you look at the alphabet, those numbers correlate to NXT.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And then he also posted a picture from behind of him and Ciampa.
Yeah.
So at Disneyland, so. People are getting the vibe that maybe he's trying to hint that he's going to NXT. He's going to show up NXT for the first episode.
It's still not the way you go, though, man.
I agree. I don't think it's the way you go. I think that if he had done against his boss, then Shane, in a sweaty fury, you're fired, like Vince McMahon did back in the day, and he said, great, flipped off Shane McMahon, and then showed up next week on NXT, that would have been the big rebellious moment of ever being like, Kevin Owens, he left SmackDown to come to NXT. Instead, it's like, he came next, he just got fired on.
Right.
I realize this is all scripted, but I just feel like you could have scripted it much stronger if that's the case.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, man.
And just in general, for his character, I just felt like, why, if you're making him everyday man or whatever, I just, the conflicted helping Shane out was just so frustrating to me because we've seen all these promos that he's done. I don't know. It was just dumb to me. Yeah. We've also seen, I no longer like Antonio Brown. I saw the story, yes. I saw the story one day later.
Fair enough.
Because I was going to say, we've seen with someone like Antonio Brown, you can get fired from somewhere and still get a huge signing bonus elsewhere.
True.
So, cool. whatever, fire me. Like, so I don't know. I thought it was, I don't know. Yeah, it left a bad taste in my mouth because I thought Kevin Owens are so much better than this.
I don't disagree with you, man. I don't disagree with you.
Kevin Owens could be the guy.
Yep.
And this is how you make his character look silly. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, where I go like, it's frustrating to me that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are such talented guys, and that right now Sami Zayn is relegated to being a mouthpiece, and Kevin Owens is being like,
no, I think you said it, emasculated. I think that's absolutely right. Because we really loved when he made that turn and he was on the mic and they were having to rip him down and turn off his
stunners on everyone. It was great.
Yeah. I hope this isn't an ego thing where like Shane's like, no, we can't have him put him over.
No, I just think it's a storyline thing. It's just like a scripting thing where.
Then it's kind of lame. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our SmackDown Live recap on Pro Wrestling Sheet. I guess I did find a couple things to complain about. So,
I told you would.
So sue me.
No, that's why they tuned in. Don't worry.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Ryan, tell them where they can write, read, and listen to everything we do.
ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's the website where you can find all the top stories in the world of professional wrestling throughout the week. At Wrestling Sheet on social media. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. That's where you can find the videos that we do, the Raw and SmackDown recaps. That's where you can find Wrestling Sheet Radio as well, where I talk about the top stories in wrestling with my good friends. We will be doing a preview of Clash of the Champions. Clash of Champions, not the Clash of Champions. We'll do a preview there, so make sure you guys like the videos while you're on the page, but definitely subscribe so that you can keep getting all the videos as soon as they come out. But if you just want to listen to the audio while you're driving, working, doing whatever, I'm not going to ask what you're doing while you're listening to podcasts. Make sure you subscribe on your preferred podcast platform. Just search Wrestling Sheet Radio.
Boom, there you go. All right, well, follow him at Ryan Satin. Follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram, and let us know what you thought about SmackDown Live and what you're looking forward to seeing at Night of Champions. Of course, tune in Thursday night for their Wrestling Sheet Radio. They're going to give you their predictions and thoughts of what's going to happen, and maybe I'll record a video of myself doing something on my Twitter there if you follow me, and I'll put some predictions down real quick, like a 1-minute video. So who knows?
You won't.
No.
You're too busy, Rocha.
I get a million things going on. I might. You never know.
You're literally talking about how overwhelmed you are before we started work, and now you're trying to film your own prediction video for some reason.
I love our fans. What can I say?
Our fans love you too, Rocha.
No, stop. All right, well, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time on Pro Wrestling Sheet. Take care.
ProWrestlingSheet.com